Keep friends close and enemies closer. Boris shakes hand with Macron to expand global influence. Boris Johnson is plotting an unlikely strategic alliance with France as he seeks to set aside his various disputes with President Emmanuel Macron, a Downing Street insider has suggested. Anglo-French relations have been under enormous strain in recent months, with the two nations at loggerheads in relation to post-Brexit arrangements for fishing, migrants seeking to cross the English Channel and the AUKUS defence pact between the UK, USA and Australia. Senior aides to Mr. Johnson are understood to be working on a new alliance with France exceeding the defence deal signed by former Prime Minister David Cameron in 2010. If successful, such a team-up could allow Europe's two most significant military powers to extend their global influence, especially after April's presidential election. Areas of possible cooperation could include nuclear testing, mounting a joint carrier strike capability and working alongside one another in the Info-Pacific region. One No. 10 source told the Sunday Times, "Getting the band back together, kissing and making up, seems to us inadequate for the times we are in. The question we are asking is, what's the highest ambition we can have here and how quickly can we do it? It seems lacking in ambition to just return to civilized discourse." The PM and Macron are two significant politicians for the next few years. They are the same species. Something tells me it would not be at all implausible to have some sort of significant Anglo-French rapprochement. Mr. Johnson is thought to have hit upon the idea after the G7 summit in Cornwall. Another aide said, Boris had been saying, more in sorrow rather than anger, that the politics of France are such that they have to ensure that Brexit is not a success. Significantly, however, Mr. Macron is also believed to have told Mr. Johnson he had been impressed by the seriousness with which Britain was going about its integrated review of defence, security and foreign policy, which recommends forging new alliances with like-minded countries. Mr. Johnson's advisers are keen for the two nations to go further than simply patching up relations, to the point where British soldiers could even lend a hand with France's peacekeeping efforts in the Sahel region of Africa. Another Downing Street aide said, "It's where the two European P5 members, permanent members of the Security Council, the only two serious out-of-area military powers in Europe, with the same global capabilities and investments, begin to shape things." Lord Darrach of Kew, a former national security advisor as well as the former UK ambassador to the US, said, "We both have serious defence capabilities and aspire to global roles. We are both nuclear powers, and we are neighbours. So the case for defence collaboration is irresistible, and it's understandably something that politicians on both sides reach for when they want to show the relationship is about more than fish and boats in the Channel." The fallout from the Brexit divorce continues amid an ongoing standoff over fishing rights. Meanwhile, the UK has demanded France do more to tackle the record number of migrants making the perilous crossing across the English Channel. Relations were also strained by the AUKUS defence pact, which saw the UK and the US agree to help Australia secure its own fleet of nuclear-powered submarines. That pact meant Canberra scrapping a previous deal it had signed with France for a fleet of diesel-electric submarines. Relations between Mr. Johnson and Mr. Macron are understood to have soured after a promising start, especially in the wake of the row overfishing, and Mr. Macron's remarks about the safety, or otherwise, of the AstraZeneca jab developed in conjunction with scientists from Oxford University. Additionally, Mr. Macron ruffled feathers with his apparent suggestion at G7 that Northern Ireland was in another country. The pair also clashed in September over the AUKUS pact, with Mr. Macron furious at the consequent scrapping of French state-owned company Naval Group's £40 billion contract to build a fleet of conventional submarines. Mr. Johnson is believed to have said, "Donnez-moi un break," with a diplomatic source explaining, "That didn't go down well. Macron is a prickly bugger." A cabinet source added, "Macron went crackers over AUKUS."